On this episode of Survive and Thrive 8791, I welcome Mary Kay extraordinaire Sheryl Motiff to the Buck and Honey's remote studios. Motiff shares her story through divorce while raising 4 kids. She credits her faith and her Mary Kay business as the primary reasons for getting through that part of her life. Please stay tuned to another great episode of Survive and Thrive 8791. Here we go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What is up wherever or whatever you are doing? I hope you are enjoying your day. Welcome to another episode of Survive and Thrive 8791. I'm your host, Coach Decora. We are in the Buck and Honey's remote studios on the east side of Madison, Wisconsin, our great capital city. You can follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube at Survive and Thrive 8791. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at tdecora8791, as well as hitting me up on Facebook at Tim Decora. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button wherever you listen to the show. Leave me a comment if you liked what you heard. If there's a topic or you know a guest who would love to tell their story, email me at tdecora@gmail.com. Glad you could join us today wherever you happen to be. Our mission is to share stories and conversations that make you cry, laugh, and think, stimulating emotions, creating laughter, and inspiring the mind. A new episode will be released on Monday and Thursday morning, featuring a wide range of guests. The podcast will touch on many subjects such as grief, loss of a loved one, recovery, professional setback, divorce, success despite challenges, etc., etc., etc. Our guests will share how they learn to survive and thrive. So today we welcome Sheryl Motiff to the Buck and Honey's remote studios, a fellow 1987 graduate, and I say fellow and that because yours truly here graduated in 1987. After graduating from Middleton High School, Sheryl ventured to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and she has worn many hats. She's been a professional engineer, bookkeeper, Uber driver, Mary Kay consultant, and most recently, managing director of Polka Dot Powerhouse, and she's been the director since 2021. Sheryl is so excited to be a Mary Kay beauty consultant. She specializes in finding the right combination of skin and body care products and colors to help others have healthy and beautiful skin. She runs her business and her life on the philosophy of God first, family second, and career third. Sheryl Motiff, welcome to the show. What is up?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's awesome. And as I look out the front of my awesome condo over here on the east side, I'm seeing sun after it was just coming down with some snow. How's the snow out there? Are the roads okay?
The roads were fine. It was just a very small amount, just some flurries, just pretty.
Yes, I love this time of year, and it seems like, and you're from the Madison area, and my wife and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, that it seems like we have not had some white Christmases. And my wife and I grew up in Wisconsin Dells, and we don't ever remember there not being a white Christmas. So you're from the area. Is it like this all the time?
It's
even back in your day?
It's unknowable. But I don't think there's been a white Christmas in 3, 4, 5 years. It's been a while.
You're everywhere. I tell people this, and hopefully my listeners don't get the wrong thought that when I say I'm stalking you on Facebook, I really wasn't stalking, but I was just trying to find some information because we are Facebook friends.
Yes.
And you and I first met at Grace Coffee in Cottage Grove. We stopped in there, my wife and I, after we were out for a walk. And there you were. You were right at the front door with a smile and just a nice, welcoming person. And then I see you like to promote small businesses in the Dane County area, featuring your Mary Kay products, as well as at places like El Charro, Mexican Grill in Wanakee, the Wine House, and Grace Coffee in McFarland. And No-No's.
No-No's, yep.
No-No's Ristorante Italiano in Madison, Wisconsin. What's your thought with this awesome gesture by you being at those places?
So I love food. I'm going to be honest. I love to eat. I work for food. And so being at a restaurant is really a happy place for me. And the owners of these restaurants are just so kind, and they allow me to come in and I greet their customers. I welcome the customer. I offer a wooden rose. I offer a Mary Kay skincare sample. And then I offer the opportunity to try Mary Kay products at a later time. And I just take names and telephone numbers. So it's a great, great way for me to meet new women. And it's a great way for me to bring my friends into these places. And when you and I met at Grace Coffee in Cottage Grove, two of my friends were there who came because I was there.
And they got probably a nice pastry or some coffee or a nice drink of some kind.
They sure did.
I know when you just said you like food, you like to eat, I was getting ready to raise my hand. So I'm telling people that are listening to this, I'm raising my hand if you can't see me. So with the holiday season now in full force, how has the Mary Kay business been for you?
Well, this is the best time of year for business because of Christmas gift giving and because I have a Pink Friday sale that has passed now. But anyone who listens and messages me and says, hey, can I get in on that Pink Friday sale? I will totally honor my Pink Friday sale with them. That's 25% off. And then I just have some other promotions that happen around this time of the year because people are spending money. People are looking for ways to treat themselves and treat their family and their friends with gifts.
That's the nice thing about the holiday season is it's a season for giving and receiving, but it's always a nice gesture just to, put something in somebody's stocking or wrap it up in a nice little package and give that away. So,
and I do gift wrapping. And part of my business is selling products, but part of my business is the experience of trying products together. And I do that with women in person and on Zoom. So someone who's listening who doesn't live in Wisconsin thinks, oh, well, I can't meet Sheryl. And they absolutely can, because we can meet on Zoom and I send samples at a time and we have the same amount of fun on Zoom.
Well, that's taking advantage of all of the resources that are out there, Zoom, Facebook. I will tell you, and I think I mentioned this earlier, that after the episode airs, we will make sure that we include all of the links to all of your stuff. And I know you mentioned your phone number. We can have you share that at the end as well.
Sure.
To give that out, and you can certainly get a hold of Sheryl and her products and things like that. So tell us about your family.
I am married to my husband, Mike, and a cool thing about our marriage is that we don't live together, and he lives in Hawaii. So I do a lot of traveling, and I'd never been to Hawaii before I met him. And we actually met at our 30-year high school reunion in 2017, and we didn't remember each other from high school and just hit it off right away. So we spent a lot of time in those first 2 weeks when he was still in Wisconsin, and then he went back, and we jokingly say that he tried to break up with me twice and immediately regretted it. And so we ended up getting married in May of 2018. So our 7-year anniversary is coming up. And we just have a really great marriage because we communicate well. And we just have a lot of fun when we're together. We prioritize our time and give each other our undivided attention. And so it works really great.
And you have 4 awesome kids.
Yes. And so my 4 kids are with my first husband, my now ex-husband. And they are 24, 21, 20, and 12. My oldest daughter lives at home with me and is working. My 2 middle kids, my 21, her name's Claudia. So Claudia is living at home with me and working. Zaria is my 21-year-old daughter, and then AJ is my 20-year-old son. And they are both students at Southern Illinois University. And
they're Salukis.
They are Salukis, yep. And they have been swimming since they were 6 and 4. And they are on the Saluki swim team, both leaders on their team, and academically they're both really thriving, and swimming they're both really thriving. And then my youngest son, Xavier, is 12 and he's in 7th grade.
So you mentioned, or I mentioned about your bio. There's this Polka Dot Powerhouse.
Yes, yes.
That has a rolls off, and when I say it, I find myself smiling. Polka Dot Powerhouse. What is it?
The Polka Dot Powerhouse is a women's connection company, and it was started in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, just 2.5 hours north of where we are here, and has spread around the world. We have about 50 chapters, most of them in the United States. We also have a chapter in the UK, in Australia, and in Canada. And by connection company, we seek to become friends with women first.
Okay.
And many of us are business women. So if business flows from that relationship, then we go with that. And the way I see things is, if I need something, I'm going to go to my polka dot sister first, because very likely there's a polka dot who has what I need. And I'll always search for a polka dot first before I go anywhere else. And it has just been a great place. I've made so many new friends. I've sold a lot of product to my polka dot sisters as well, because they are offering what I need and I'm offering what they need.
And so there's probably a little bit of trust as Polka Dot Powerhouse members, and yeah, I think it's just a good group to be involved with, and I'm definitely going to probably take a look at their mission, because I have a daughter as well, and certainly my wife, and certainly make them aware of those kinds of things, because yeah, sometimes your own friend group can be a little bit limited, but if you open it up to other people and other places, parts of the country, it's good to lean on other people.
And I always like to share that the two values of the Polka Dot Powerhouse are abundance and no drama. So we prioritize collaborating over competing with each other, and we prioritize no drama. So we all have drama in our life because we have dramatic people in our lives, but we seek to help each other find solutions rather than remain in the gossip, rather than dwell in the drama.
Our sponsor, Buck and Honey's Restaurants, have been impacting the communities of Sun Prairie, Monona, Wanakee, and Mount Horeb, very much like you have been doing, your communities, and very much like the Polka Dot Powerhouse has been impacting people with their great food and drink menu, 5-star customer service, and a welcoming and vibrant atmosphere. People keep coming back. And as I was thinking about the customer service and the welcoming and vibrant atmosphere, that's kind of what you were displaying on those on that first day we had met, with 4 locations in Dane County. One is always close by. Have you been to Buck and Honey's?
I have been to Buck and Honey's. And I have to admit, when it's just my son and I, we don't usually go to Buck and Honey's. We're kind of, pizza kind of people. When my husband is here there, or when I go out with friends, Buck and Honey's is one of my favorite places to go.
Okay.
Because of the Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had their cauliflower mashed.
Oh, that's good too.
Which I've had before. And when you talk about pizza, I know Buck and Honey's for only one thing. I mean, I've had their firecracker shrimp, but I really love Bomber's Special, because I have been eating Bomber's Special pizza since the mid-'80s. The owner, Tom Anderson, is from Wisconsin Dells, my hometown. And I knew his dad, and his dad had a pizza place, and we would always go in there and get Bomber's Special. So the menu, I shouldn't say the menu, but the ingredients for that pizza have essentially stayed the same. So if you want to have some pizza, go and order the Bomber's Special. So we're going to jump right into segment number 1 of this episode, and we're going to talk about divorce. What was that like before, and what happened? So we're going to kind of go way back in time a little bit. Probably going to be dating ourselves a little bit here, but...
Well, we've already done that.
We
admitted our graduation year, so...
So you graduated from Middleton High School in 1987.
That's right.
And I graduated from Wisconsin Dells High School in 1987. So 1987 was a great
Yes,
year.
it was. Yes, it
BTW,
was.
by the way. So what was life like growing up for Sheryl? Family life, brothers, sisters. Tell us a little bit about what was it like?
Yeah, so I had married parents, and I had an older brother and a younger brother, and my parents stayed married until my dad passed away. So I had that as an example. Neither of my parents were very nurturing, though, and I craved nurturing. And so I guess I sought that in other people. And I grew up Catholic, and later on in my adult years, I became a Christian. So I know we'll get to that. And so I didn't understand that the nurturing, the true nurturing that fills your soul comes from God. So I sought that in other people. When I finished high school, I actually went away to UW La Crosse for 2 years
Okay.
and just wasn't really interested in being a student and didn't know where my life was headed. And so I came home for a semester. I lived at home and I worked full time. And my parents probably thought I wasn't going to go back to college, but I went to Madison College, used to be MATC.
Yep.
I got registered. I went the second semester and I rocked it. I was ready for college then. I wasn't ready when I went away after high school. And I was at Madison College for 3 semesters, took the prerequisites that freshman and sophomore would have taken at college. So calculus, chemistry, and rocked it. And I got accepted into UW-Madison. And it's hard to get accepted into
Yes.
UW-Madison. And I wouldn't have been accepted.
And lacrosse too.
Okay. I wouldn't have been accepted coming out of high school. And I wouldn't have been accepted coming out of UW La Crosse. But it was because I rocked it at MATC that I was accepted. And I was an adult. So they accepted me into the program as an adult, right?
They
Into the
figure
College
you
of
got
Engineering.
you got your stuff together
Yes,
now.
yeah, I had proven it. So I went right into the College of Engineering. I started taking civil engineering classes right away. And I ended up graduating with a degree in civil engineering. And in retrospect, I chose civil engineering for the wrong reason. I chose it because I was good in math and because I knew I could do it. And I did it. And I chose it because women weren't supposed to be engineers. So I thought, well, I can be an engineer. Who says I can't be an
I'm
engineer?
going to show you.
And I did. So I got the degree, I got a job, and wasn't satisfied. Didn't enjoy working as an engineer. And I worked as an engineer for 10 years, I think for 3 different companies. And then my 3rd child was born. So when he was born, my other 2 kids were 4 and 18 months. And I was just embracing being a mom. I loved being a mom and really wanted to embrace that as my job, as my life's work. So it worked out perfectly. I didn't want to go back. They had run out of work. It was a depression in the economy at the time. The firm I was working at didn't have work for me to come back. I'm like, all right, see you guys. It's been great knowing you. And the people were great. I just wasn't enjoying the work.
You already kind of filled in some blanks already here, so we're going to kind of move ahead here. So after college, you said you jumped into the professional world. You were an engineer. You graduated in 95.
Yep.
And you got married in 1999.
Yep.
So when people marry, they do so because of common interest, friendship, admiration, ultimately love for one another. You probably had that, maybe more, maybe less. What was that first marriage like?
My answer is similar to the reason that I went into engineering. I think I really chose him for the wrong reason. And I chose him because I thought I could change him. And so that may be the most valuable lesson I learned from my first marriage is that it's not my job to change anyone. That's God's job. And it's my job to change myself and to grow closer to God and allow God to change me as well.
Yeah, I've heard people say that before, where they want to try to fix somebody, and we all want to be fixers. We all want to help people because we get some satisfaction out of that. And yeah, sometimes that can go one way or the other. But
I also believe that helping people requires asking them what they need. Helping people is not doing what we think they need, giving them what we think they need.
Then I've heard people say, ask them, do they want help? And that can be the easiest question. And there's a couple of answers for that. No, I don't need your help. Or yes, please help me. I need your help. And then, yeah, you can go either way with that. And even if you hear somebody say, no, you still sometimes people don't take no for what it is. No. So you experienced then divorce. Many people stay happily married for many years. Many people stay married but not happily, and others choose divorce for various reasons. How did you know it was time to move on from marriage and ultimately go through the process of the divorce process? How did you know that it was time?
I had tried. I had offered to go to counseling with my now ex-husband. I wanted to remain married. And so I stayed and stayed and stayed. And our marriage was difficult. I shielded myself and shielded our kids. And that was really where the surviving was. I was always shielding us. And I guess maybe I just couldn't take it anymore. And even after I filed for divorce, I had hope. I had hope that maybe this could change things. Maybe this could save things. And I actually filed for divorce twice. The first time I completely retracted it because it seemed like there was hope. And then several years passed and the situation had become as bad and worse than it was the first time around. So we went through with it, and it was 21 months from filing date until final divorce date. And it was arduous. It was difficult. So the original question was, how did I know it was time? I guess I just was unwilling to stay anymore. I was unwilling to continue to live this way anymore. And I met my Mary Kay sales director. Her name was Kayla, around the middle of 2013. And then I started my business in 2014. It took knowing her, and it took knowing the other women in Mary Kay that she introduced me to see that what I was experiencing wasn't what marriage was supposed to look like. When I started putting all these things together, I realized that a first step I could take was to file for divorce again, with the hope that we could reconcile.
Well, I know when we first talked, we were talking about the podcast, and I said everybody's got a story. You decided to, you kind of let me in a little bit, and you said mine would be about divorce. I wanted you to come on the podcast. You are the first, you won't be the last to come on and talk about divorce or a relationship that doesn't work out, whether that's a work relationship. In this case, this was a relationship between a married couple. But I think people who are either contemplating it, going through it, or coming out of it are going to benefit from what you have to say, because you have some lived experiences. I think people that are wanting advice and can't utter the three words, I need help, can come to this podcast and say, and hey, you need to listen to podcast number 25 of Survive and Thrive 8791. There was this awesome lady who talked about the things that she held true to her heart that helped her navigate this whole process. So we're going to talk about that.
And I would say saying I need help is hardest the first time you say it, and it gets easier every time you say it.
Thank you, because that was exactly what epitomized my life for a long, long time. And once I uttered those three words, I need help, I've been thriving ever since. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad you
Absolutely.
reinforced that.
And by not saying I need help, I'm stealing somebody else's blessing. Somebody else wants to help me. And if I don't say I need help, I've stolen the blessing that they would get to bestow upon me by helping me.
That's another way to look at it too.
Yep.
So Buck and Honeys has been with us since episode 1, and have been darn glad for their support and friendship with those locations, in 4 locations in the Madison area. One is always near. I can't wait for my next dinner at Buck and Honeys, just like I can't wait to hear how you survived divorce and then have been thriving since. So in segment 2, you are going to take us through what it was like for Sheryl Motiff after divorce. So I want everybody to please stay tuned. Don't change that dial. Don't switch the channel. You're not going to want to miss segment 2 of Survive and Thrive 8791. We'll be back.
If you, a loved one, or someone you know who is experiencing a physical, mental, or emotional crisis, there is help or resources out there. Contact NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness Helpline, at 1-800-950-6264. This is a free service providing information, resource referrals, and support to people living with a mental illness, their family, providers, and the public. United Way 211 is available 24/7, 365, and offers free confidential assistance. They connect people with the local programs and services that can help. Dial 211. Crisis Services, dial 911. Suicide Prevention Lifeline, call 988. To connect via web chat, go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Along with those numbers, there is help. You just need to utter 3 words: I need help. Now back to the show.
We are back. Welcome to segment 2 of Survive and Thrive 8791, where we feature guests who share their story in hopes of helping others who may or might be struggling with life and life's curveballs that they throw at them. So Sheryl Motiff went through a divorce and got remarried. We want to make sure that is also known, and had to learn to cope. During that time, you really relied on your faith, and that has already shown through in segment number 1. Tell us about your faith. Tell us a little bit about that.
I couldn't have survived without my faith. And by my faith, I mean that I have chosen Jesus as my Savior, and that I rely on him in all things, and especially rely on him to have taken my sin away so that I get to go to heaven when I die. So that is the faith that I have. And I relied so heavily during the divorce process and after the divorce process because I had nothing else. I was struggling financially because we were living in 2 households, and I was taking care of 4 kids. I wasn't working outside the home. Taking care of the kids was my work. And when the kids were asleep, that was when I could get quiet, and that was when I connected with God, and that was when I spent time reading my Bible. So my faith really was what kept me going. And I could easily have drank or taken drugs because maybe I would have gotten some relief in that way. But I recognized that that wasn't long-term relief. That was momentary relief to just get you to the next day. And so I used my relationship with God to get me to the next day and the next day and the next day. And with him by my side, I have begun thriving.
I really like how you framed that you had to kind of do that approach of take care of the kids, and then when you have an opportunity to find some quiet time. When you were talking about that, I was thinking of my own meditation that I do at the end of the day. I also do it at the beginning of the day, but that reminded me of the end of the day where I do some readings and I do some journaling, and I also close my eyes and get into prayer and be thankful for what I have, grateful for what I have. And I also like the fact that you probably stayed away from some of the things that become coping skills for a lot of people. Yeah. Substances, other addictions. You could have gotten into eating disorders, eating too much, not eating enough. I mean, whatever addiction is out there, people use, but you chose to go another route that works long-term instead of short-term. So you've already touched on a couple of these things. People going through divorce, the process. You talked about the 21 months. You talked about filing twice. And so you've already shared some of those things. You talked about the amazing children, each of them. How did you manage life with them at that time?
I was in close contact with the teachers at their school. I guess that gave me a sense of control, that I was helping them by just being in touch with the school. And I went to the school a lot, and I was with them in the classroom. And at the time, they liked that.
Yeah.
When they were in elementary school.
I know there's some kids who don't want their kids, want their parents around.
Yeah. So that was really great. And the one place that I reliably had childcare was church. So Sunday morning, I always knew that I would be able to take my kids to children's church, and that I would get to go and listen to the pastor's sermon, and that I would be fed. So that was the one place that I knew I would have reliable child care.
Yeah, I think taking them to Sunday school. I remember being a Sunday school kid and being a summer school, Bible church or Bible school. People probably don't take advantage of those as much as they should, so that you can hear the word of the Lord and all that good stuff. So
Absolutely.
once your divorce was finalized, and you said that took about 21 months. Again, I don't have the data here, but I'm sure it could go longer. I'm sure it could go shorter, but yours took 21 months. And I think people need to know that that's what they could be in for.
Yeah.
You needed to rely on some coping skills. So if anyone who is contemplating divorce, going through the process right now, or you are finished with the process, there were 5 things that I asked Sheryl to talk about that helped her get through and survive and thrive. And I'll start with the first one. I'll prompt you here.
Yeah.
But I'll have you go ahead and spin some yarns about prayer and Bible reading. That was the first one.
So I love to read, and I love to listen. And I probably get most of my reading done when I'm driving, because I use the Audible app. And I have Bible on the Audible app. So I do listen, and I read it from paper pages. And it's just the place that I hear from God. What I'm reading teaches me something. And I don't claim that I understand everything that I read out of the pages of the Bible, but I do claim that I investigate and I ask other people, and I've listened to my pastor's sermons, and I seek out answers to the things that I don't understand. Prayer is the way that I talk with God. So it's conversation. It's not just me telling him or me asking him, because prayer isn't that at all. Prayer is a conversation, and it's talking and listening.
Yeah, I like that. When you were just sharing that, yes, I was a big prayer person. That's one thing that my mother taught me at a very young age, was to pray, and I had to do that a lot early on, and I just kept doing it. And then it wasn't probably about 3 or 4 years ago when somebody asked me, do you meditate? And I said, yeah, just get quiet and breathe in and breathe out. And they said, well, it's more than that. So prayer is when you are talking to your higher power. And for me, that is God. And meditating is for when you are listening. And I had an aha, wow, yes, I never knew that. So in those times of quiet, I do try to listen and have thoughts or ideas come in. And do I act on them all the time? No, but that put into perspective of the prayer and the meditating that I did not know. So exercise.
I love to exercise because it clears my head, and it just fills me with joy. Historically, I was a runner, and I did boot camp. Recently, though, my 12-year-old son and I go to Sky Zone Trampoline Park. Since Halloween of 2023 was the first time we went. They were running a Black Friday special. So I said to my son, would you like to come here more often? And we went there on Halloween because I didn't want to go trick-or-treating, and I didn't want the candy in my house. So he said, yeah, I want to come here more often. So they had a great Black Friday special. We just renewed it. And the first time I went there, I could jump on a trampoline, and I could do a toe touch. And I could do a seat drop. So, just some really basic skills, very basic skills.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely will. I could see myself taking a grandkid or two to that place sometime.
Let me know when you want to go. I'll meet you there.
Number 3, sleep. I love sleep.
So I used to wear...
What's the perfect number of hours for you, by the way?
7.5 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah. I used to wear I only slept 4 hours last night as a badge of honor. I read a book, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, PhD. Matthew, I think. It was terrifying. He said that the health consequences in your future, because you are not sleeping now, like diabetes and heart disease and cancer. I was like, oh, I didn't know any of that. So 3 or 4 years ago, I said, I'm just going to start sleeping more. And it's amazing. If I only sleep 4 hours, I'm like, whoa, I'm impaired right now. And I use that word. I tell myself, you're impaired right now. So my driving might not be as safe. I'm shorter with my family. I don't want to engage with people because I'm tired. Now my rule is if I get up in the morning because I need to take my son to school or because I've got something to do early, I don't get to work or exercise until I've taken a nap.
Well, that's a good, that's a good coping skill, just to recognize all of those signs and symptoms of ornery or halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yep.
If you're experiencing those, either grab something to eat or lay down and take a nap. I like that. Encouraging those that need encouragement.
Yeah. I have been the person, I am often the person who needs encouragement. So I can see someone who needs encouragement. And I'll sometimes say, hey, can I give you a hug? Or I'll sometimes say, hey, what's going on? Giving them the opening to share if they want to share. And I always feel better after I've done that. I always leave just in a better emotional space when I've encouraged someone else.
I like that. I know that's probably what we went through a little bit, and I don't even know if I said anything to you about tell me your story. And people light up when I say that to them, and people like to talk about themselves. But then I usually say, tell me your story, and people, tend to open up a little more when they can do that. And it does. It's not only good for me to hear somebody else's story, but I think it's also good for when people tell their own things that either were hard, fun, something good's going to come out of it.
Yeah.
All right, meeting new people, booking a Mary Kay party.
Yep.
Go ahead.
This is my happy dance. Woo, 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 woo.
I wish you could see this right now.
And I have great joy sharing Mary Kay products because the products are really great, but I have even more joy because I get to spend the time with women and I get to spend the time encouraging them, and I get to spend the time, if they're interested, sharing my faith. And lots of women are like, yeah, I'm a Christian too, and I don't know where to find other Christian women. I love getting into women's space. And I do that happy dance every time I get an appointment booked. And I know that some of them, up to half of them, usually cancel or postpone. So that's not a big deal. I just keep going. And my customers refer their friends to me. New customers refer their friends to me. I meet women at restaurant promotions. I meet women when I'm at the baseball game for my son. So there are women everywhere, and no one woman is going to harm my business. No one woman is going to make my business either. It is about just impacting people, just getting out and being with people.
Well, I think our goal, because I did ask you about the pink Cadillac, the Mary Kay pink Cadillac, maybe our goal would be to see if we can get you into the pink Cadillac after this segment.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yep.
So speaking of Mary Kay, you started in 2014. I had a little typo in here, 2044, but we fixed that. So 2014. Let's go 2 minutes to tell us about that. And then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that you can fill in the blanks here. So tell us about the Mary Kay stuff.
So we have skincare products, body care products, perfume, makeup, just really great. Mary Kay is on the front end of trends, on the front end of technology, and they are leading the way. So it's
ever evolving.
Yes, ever evolving, because technology is always evolving. And our products are as good as the products that you get at the department store, and potentially less money, because I am my own advertising. We don't advertise in magazines, newspapers during football games. So our advertising cost is very low because I do my own advertising and marketing.
Yeah, you say that. Mary Kay does a really good job despite not being at football games, not being at basketball games or billboards everywhere. But I think it's that the job of the consultants like you who are boots on the ground carrying the message. So where can people get in touch with you if they're interested in you as a rep? So this is your opportunity to drop that info here.
Okay. So I would love a phone call or a text message. What I have learned is if I give out my website, a woman might check it out, but I never know that she was there. If I give out my social media, they might check me out, but I never know that they were there because they don't comment, they don't react. So I give out my phone number because they can call or text me, and I know that they're there because I'm reading the text message or I'm talking to them on the phone. My telephone number is 608.
Write this down. Get a pen or pencil.
Write it down.
If you're driving, do not just go backwards later on.
And I
Go
think,
ahead.
I think
608.
we'll probably put it in the comments as well.
It'll be in the comments, yes.
608-333-6593.
333-6593.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
That's it.
I got it. So booking a party. So if there's a business that is listening right now or a business owner that is thinking, hey, if I want to get some different people that may not come to my restaurant, how do they book a party? How does a business do that?
For booking a party, that's more an individual woman where she would invite her friends to come to her house, or if they're local, they could come to my house. And if they're not local, or even if they are local, I meet women on Zoom. So a woman just invites her friends either to come to her house or to get on Zoom with us, and I send samples ahead of time, and we just try the products together. I'm in my own bathroom washing my face with them. So it's a whole lot of fun. And so if there were businesses that like the idea of a customer appreciation event, where you and I met, I was doing a customer appreciation event.
Okay.
We're handing out roses, skincare samples, just welcoming people at the door. I'm always looking for that as well.
Yeah, that's, I think of Walmart and they have the greeters there. They've had the greeters there. I think it's always a good thing for a business to have somebody at the door saying hi, hello, and then you give them a rose.
Yes.
So that's hopefully kind of cool. So what an episode. Your story will definitely help people listening. Your faith is an inspiration. I've talked about that earlier. And now you're helping others with your business because people like to look good, smell good, and when you look good and smell good, you feel good.
Yeah.
Sheryl Motiff just shared an experience that our listeners can learn from. These 5 things can help you survive and thrive, just like Sheryl did through her divorce. Prayer and Bible reading, exercise, sleep, encouraging those that need encouragement, and meeting new people and booking a Mary Kay party. She got some promo in there. So final thoughts, Sheryl. Any final thoughts as we get ready to wrap this up?
Yes, my final thought is always Jesus first.
Jesus first.
Jesus first.
I know we talked, I put a little quip in there, God, family, and the Green Bay Packers. You are God, family, and Mary Kay.
Yeah.
Our next episode, we will have another amazing guest who will share how they survived and thrived. If you have a story to share or you know someone who does, please reach out to me at tdecora@gmail.com. Until next time, hang in there with whatever you happen to be going through. And with hard work, dedication, and determination, you can survive and thrive. Until next time, take care